Hey, come on through here. Let's get into talking about Kelly Price. Can we talk about Kelly Price for a second? I know it's been all over the internet about her just really going off about some things going on in her life, and I wanted to just add my 2 cents in there. I know it's not really welcome, but hey, welcome to Lovely J Podcast. I'm Miss Coco Boughton. So, I've been seeing different clips of Kelly Price talking on Facebook, TikTok about how she has a handler and how her sister is the handler and hired her husband to be basically a honeypot to her. And this is what I got to say about that. Y'all think that stuff don't exist? Nobody has proven Kelly wrong. So when I see people saying that she's mentally ill or she's schizophrenic and things like that, what makes you think that? What makes you qualified to say that? Because first of all, when you look at who Kelly is, of course, if she's going through something like a handler, yeah, she's going to have a nervous breakdown. That's a normal reaction to somebody abusing you. And nobody has not yet proved that she has not been abused. So how can you label her and say that she's all these mental things and things are off with her? It just reminded me of the situation that I be going through. You know, people tell me that, hey, no, that didn't happen. Oh, it's in your head. But there's proof right there. The only reason why you don't see and understand Kelly's situation is because it's not happening to you. However, there are lots of people that do know that it's going on. And that's the thing about being targeted, is that people who target you, they control the narrative of the story. And the sad part is, people like her and me, we play into it because we get fed up and we get emotional and we just want somebody to hear our story. We just want somebody to say, I understand. Been there. This is what you need to do. She says she got receipts. I believe her. I believe what Kelly is saying. Now, is Kelly off a little bit in the head? I think Kelly is holding on best she can under the circumstances. And for her to really come forth and rely on God, I believe she's in the right hands with God. And for people who want to say that to believe in God and to think and trust God to handle what's happening to you is delusional, or you're in a state of spiritual psychosis. Half of y'all clowns do not know what spiritual psychosis really is. You don't even know what psychosis really is because you've never been around it. You only going by what you have read or what you've been told. But until you have been around such a thing, you don't know what it's like. You could be sitting there talking to somebody and they have a normal conversation with you, and the whole time they're in psychosis. So just because you see this showing up on Kelly now, that she's having these outbursts, I understand her completely what the outburst is about. Because when you have a handler, these handlers make sure that that your mind stays on the go. They make sure that you never feel peaceful in your home, in your mind. No matter where you go, they've got eyes on you. They've got ears on you. And you know it. You may be the only one know it, but you know it. You know what they're doing to you. So for her to show up like that, that's nothing new to me. A lot of people start bursting out with things that they're thinking inside their head when they get fed up. And they be like, oh, I didn't mean for that to come out like that. She's fed up. She's fed up with her sister. And can sisters do you dirty? Can they? Can sisters do you dirty? That's the big question. In Kelly's case, do y'all think her sister did her dirty, or is it all in her head? Because she sounds pretty convinced that her sister did something to her and hired that man and sent her daughter, 17-year-old daughter, to sleep with him. All right, I got sorry about that. So let me try to find some of these videos on Kelly, so that y'all can hear what I'm talking about. Some of the talkings that she was doing. It's not nothing. That's no surprising to me. And that's certainly not a sign of mental health issues. That's a sign that she is crying out for help from somebody to help her, because people are trying to declare that she's crazy. And you got to think, too, she survived what was so-called COVID, but she's now coming forth saying that it may not have been COVID. It may have been an attack on her life. Could have been attempted murder. So let's hear what Kelly has to say.
Surgery, build up body, and stop buying dollar store wigs to look like me. She's been stalking me for 3 years. We in federal court. What's happening next? You want to play? I pray, and I got a whole lot of people that pray with me every night. Let me tell you how God works. Since you've been getting readings on me to see what's happening. Since you done cloned my phone, tried to change my ticket, locked me out my computer today, sent my friend to the hospital last night, tried to kill my driver while I was in the car. Let's play. Show up in Atlanta tomorrow if you want to. You clone my phone, you know where I live now? Show up in Atlanta if you want to. That's the type of time I'm on. This will be on every blog before I catch my plane in 3 hours. That's the type of time I'm on. I've been keeping my mouth shut because you got little kids, I got grandkids, and I'm somebody's mother. But your daughter's a little, you trained her the right way. 17 years old, came in the house and tried to sleep with my husband. You put witchcraft on me. Yeah, I never loved that man. My sister sent him into me. She a witch and she sing in church every Sunday. She sent him into me. And then played on y'all top and played on mine, saying that I was kidnapping him while she was paying him. He was a handler. I don't put my business in the street. This is a testimony. I'm not playing. You want to play? Show up in the city of Atlanta. You're going to have a problem. It's registered. When's your last doctor's appointment? Selling stuff in hotels? You started OnlyFans in my name? This been going on for 3 years.
Oh, y'all, it is. That's just how much she is saying right now. It's almost to the end. I just had to interrupt it just so I don't get, tagged or whatever.
Dating accounts. I want this on every blog in the morning. Show up in Atlanta. Do you want me to post your picture on my social media? So when you drive in from dusty Mississippi, everybody in the city know what you look like? Build
a... So, disclaimer, I'm not a therapist, nor am I someone who knows exactly what's going on in Kelly's life. This is just my opinion of the things that I'm seeing from Kelly.
What in the world?
And everybody is wondering what's going on with Kelly. I believe her. I believe everything she's saying is true because it's just from experience. It's not just my experience. I'm letting out my window, y'all. I heard some little bugs out there. But it's not just from my experience, but it's other people's experiences too. There are several people who are going through this same thing right now, and it happened all at the same time. And this is what people is not paying attention to. Pay attention to the timing of when all of a sudden a lot of people started losing it. And you will lose it. If you don't realize you're in a spiritual battle, you're going to lose. You're going to lose. You can't fight stuff like this in the natural unless God give you permission to go in the natural and fight. Now, you can speak up for yourself, but the main thing to just remind yourself is to stay in your moment. You got to stay in your moment and you got to stay grounded. If you should find yourself in a situation like Kelly Price is in, she said she got a handler. Once a handler is assigned to you, your life is never going to be the same again. And if they do ease up, you're still not going to ease up mentally because the torment, the torturing, the psychological abuse, emotional abuse, the physical abuse, it doesn't go away. It's there. It's there. And the ultimate goal is to make you so insane that you either off somebody, get yourself in trouble and locked up, or you end up making somebody hurt you, or you end up hurting yourself or taking your own, you know what. So that's the end goal of all of this psychological torture. And that's why I don't like nobody. I don't like people who do that. I don't care who you is. If you do that, you really, I don't take you serious. And I see lots of people who do that. And that lets me know that we have a weak society that is clueless to what they're doing. They're clueless to how they are ruining somebody else's life. And some of you know that you're ruining somebody's life. Let's Google and find out what this handler thing is. Because I take it that a lot of people don't understand what handler is because they throw the word around, but it's a real thing. It's a real person that's assigned to somebody. Last time we heard of handlers and things was Britney Spears' case. And Kelly did say she almost got Britney Spears. She almost got a conservatorship put on her. Yeah. And what's her name? Wendy Williams. She had a handler who was doing the same thing to her, and her handler was her husband. It was her husband doing the same thing. So a handler generally refers to someone, and this is coming from Google, or something that manages, controls, or processes a specific subject, object, or task. Because the term spans multiple fields, its exact meaning depends entirely on the context. So I got to put that in there in a different way. Let me ask. Let me see. How can I ask it? What is a handler assigned to targeted individuals? That's the best way I can say it, because you become a target. Okay. Okay, in the context of targeted individuals and gang stalking community, a handler refers to an alleged operative, government agent, or middleman that TIs believe is managing the covert surveillance, harassment, and psychological operations directed at them. Within this belief system, the handler's assigned role is to coordinate the operation, act as a central command, passing orders and instructions to other harassers, perps, in the victim's local community, monitor the target, directly observe the targeted individual's daily activities to ensure they conform to the intended psychological pressure, control the outcome, manage the target's behavior, and isolate them socially, sometimes with the ultimate goal of driving the individual to institutionalization or offing themselves. Psychological and medical context, mental health professionals and psychiatrists, researchers generally classify the experience of being a targeted individual and having a handler as a prosperity or paranoid delusion. Rather than coordinated mobbing, these experiences are typically attributed to underlying conditions like schizophrenia, severe anxiety, or paranoia. The concept of a handler mirrors the secret agent or overseer tropes commonly found in spy fiction, which manifest in the psychological frameworks. If you or someone you know is experiencing severe distress or feelings of intense, unwarranted paranoia, mental health professionals strongly recommend reaching out to a licensed therapist or support hotline. However, I would recommend that you do that too, and get as much documentation as you can that says that you're not delusional, that you're not schizophrenic, and they can't prove that it's not happening. Okay? They cannot prove that it's not happening, so they can't really, diagnose you like that if they can't prove it. But yet, here we go, with a lot of people are diagnosed with those things that, the real diagnosis, the real people who need those diagnoses are not getting the help they need. But the ones who have been induced into getting those diagnoses, those are the ones being institutionalized. And they don't really need to be institutionalized. They need to be out here telling their story. They need to be like Kelly Price. But you got to be careful how you do it, because if you keep talking, they find a way to make it makes you look more crazier than sane. I had to learn that, and I still have trouble with that because it's just hard. Not because once you realize you have nobody to talk to and you're isolated, you don't have friends you could talk to about it because they're part of the mobbing community. They've been told lies about you. You don't have anybody you could talk to. So basically it's you and God. And it's not that you get tired of talking to God, because I love talking to God. But every once in a while, I would like to have a friend I could talk to. And once you talk to that friend, they report everything back to the handler. And that's when, excuse me, y'all. And that's when you start seeing these outbursts happen, when so much has happened back to back, when the pressure has came onto you mentally back to back, and you just get to a point where I gotta let this out some kind of way. So you run to social media. Was that the right thing for Kelly to do? No, because people did not have understanding of what went on in the background. Now, however, if she sat down and really broke her story down as to what happened in the background of that, some people will understand, and some people still gonna call her crazy no matter what. Some of them don't like her because I think she was on a reality show one time, R&B Divas, and they didn't like her attitude. So sorry, y'all, about the yawns. I ate and now I'm tired. But I don't know. Celebrities, Brittany Murphy. I think about Brittany Murphy. I think about, what's her name? You want to put me in rehab, and I say no. The one that sings that song, I can't remember her name. It's a lot of people who have experienced being targeted by Hollywood, by the elites, the socialites. They've been targeted. If they speak up, try to say, hey, you owe me money, and it's a big name like Sony and the Michael Jackson thing, the more money, the more problems. I think, and I'm not wrong on this at all, it's not a think, I know being broke saved my life. And that sounds crazy. But see, just as she has a handler, I also know that there are people in my life that try to handle me that way. And when these outbursts happen, we are in a state of hyper-awareness. That's what it is. We are super hyper-aware to what you're doing. That's like, if you unplugging my sleep apnea machine, I know it was plugged up before I left out the bedroom, but you unplug it. You say you go into the bathroom, and then you quickly go into the room and unplug my machine. And then when I get ready to go to bed, put the mask on, blah, 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 and nothing comes out because it's unplugged. And then I look down, I'm like, it's unplugged. How did that happen? It's not a how it happened, it's a who did it. Because it can't unplug itself. See, there are just things that are normally happening. And it's not superficial. It's not ghosts. It's not aliens. It's people. It's people. It's evil-minded people. It's people who are being controlled to control others. And that is the society that we live in today. I control you and you control her. When you start controlling her, then that person going to control you. It's going to pass down from generations to generations. You're trying to control me, but your children going to control you. Your children going to run you crazy. You trying to run me crazy, they're going to run you crazy. And that's how the evil ones have planned it, so that for whatever gain, rich people just love seeing poor people suffer. Some of them do, not all. We got some good rich people, but we got some rich people out here that like Hunger Games. Life is a game to them. They like to play with people's lives. That's basically what it comes down to. And don't have a little bit of money, because if you got some money, they want that too. Right now, I'm going through something right now that is so Kelly Price is crazy. I guess that's what I can start calling it now. She said she almost got Britney Spears, but I almost got Kelly Price. In my thing, they mess with your financials. They mess with your friendships, your relationships. Kelly is nowhere near the craziness y'all think she is. Kelly got some issues, though. Kelly do got some issues, but they're not what you think. The issues she got is mainly within herself, with herself. Her issues don't have nothing to do with y'all. The issues that Kelly is talking about is what people are doing to her. And I don't know why people don't hear that. They don't hear that. She's telling you who's doing what. And you're basically saying, oh, you're crazy for telling us this. Nobody's doing nothing to you, because she can't prove it. She can't prove it. And it sounds crazy. It do sound crazy. The things I say sound crazy. I sit back sometime and I laugh about it. And other times I say, let me go delete that. I know thousands of people that screenshotted it, but still, let me go delete it anyhow. You know, we know it sounds crazy, but we also know the life we have to live and put up with the craziness that people have put on us. And then when she started talking about the witches and the warlocks, I'm going to tell y'all something on that. The most witches are in the church. Don't forget that, okay? You know, the real ministry is outside of the church, and it's in your heart. So whenever you go to church and you see these cliques all getting together, and you see them gang up spiritually on one person or exclude certain families from certain activities and things, those are witches. Do y'all know what a witch is? Let's go to some definition. Let's go to some definition. And they got the nerve to say that there are good witches and there are bad witches. And the warlocks, you should see them. They're in play too. Let's see. What is a witch? Y'all, we got to look this stuff up. Okay. A witch, now this comes from Google now. A witch is traditionally defined as a person, typically a woman, who professes or is believed to practice magic, sorcery, or witchcraft. Over time, the definition has evolved from historical folklore and myth to modern spiritual practices and cultural symbolism. The concept of a witch generally falls into three main categories. Number one, historical folklore and mythology. I don't know if I want to read all this. But we need to know, because I know if I get off in here and I don't read it, I'm not going to, after I'm off in here, I'm not doing it. Okay, so historically, especially during the Middle Ages and early modern periods, such as the 17th century, Salem witch trials, witches were widely believed to be evil. Individuals who made pacts with the devil to gain supernatural powers and cause harm. This fictional archetype is frequently portrayed in fairy tales, movies, and pop culture. Y'all know we be seeing them. We be already seeing them witches. The most known one is, what's her name that ate the apple? Broody. Sleeping Broody. She ate the apple from the witch, but the witch looked normal. The witch was happy and charming and nice. And so, Sleeping Broody, she fell for it. She ate the apple because she was nice and looked trustworthy. You got to be careful of these looks. See, that's why I say Kelly Price looking crazy right now. But I promise you, it's a lot of people that don't look crazy. But they are crazy, and they are witches, and they do try to control people. Okay, let's go. Wicca. Number 2, modern paganism and Wicca. In contemporary contexts, witch is often self-identified title used by practitioners of modern neo-pagan religions such as Wicca. Modern practitioners utilize the term to describe people who practice magic and harness natural energies for spiritual growth, healing, and personal development. Now, let me tell you something. There are witches out here, and they will tell you they are a witch. They are no longer hiding or ashamed of who they are or anything, because the world we live in now, freedom of speech and all that, so they're not ashamed of who they are. And this is the thing about it. There's some nice ones. They're really nice until you do something to them, or they want you to love them and you don't want to love them, and I put a spell on you. That type of person, So I've met witches. I've met warlocks. And now this is what they call themselves. This ain't what I call them. This is what they call themselves. And the Bible teaches us, if that's what they want to believe in, you leave them alone. That's their belief. That's what they choose to believe in. All of us got to see God. We can't just look and say they got to see God. But we got to see God too for ourselves. So you just leave them alone. God is not forcing us to convert nobody. He's telling us to teach them to be fishermen of men. He's not telling us to go out here, hey, you go out there and threaten them so they'll change. That's not what we're here for. We're just here to do the things that God has told us to do. And we don't have to fake it. We don't have to force it or anything. At the end of the day, people are still people. And there's only 2 types of people out here. Despite how many personality disorders there are, or how many different mental illness diagnoses there are, there's only 2 types of people out here. And that's good and evil. You choose which side you want to be on. That's all there is. Good and evil. And there's no other way around that. There's no other words that can describe that. Those 2 words are deep in context. There's no other way. Cultural and feminist symbolism. In recent years, the term has been reclaimed as a symbol of female empowerment, nonconformity, and independence. Many modern self-identified witches use the archetype to represent autonomy and resistance against societal oppression. Oh, man. Let's just go and find out what witchcraft is. I know what it is, but for those of you who may be listening and you might not know what it is, what is witchcraft? And y'all go back and read this stuff up on your own. You got to study it for yourself. Witchcraft is the practice of utilizing magic, spells, and the manipulation of natural or supernatural energy to influence people, events, or the environment. Its definition varies widely, spanning from historical folklore, occultism, to modern nature-based spiritual practices. Let me tell you, I was born into a family of witches and did not know it. I did not know that so many. I thought it was good because it was, put into me as growing up that this is our natural culture. This is normal. This is what we do. This is how we get our money. This is how we get people to favor us. This is how we take people out. That's what I grew up with when it came down to witchcraft. I've seen witchcraft hanging from ceilings. I've seen all type of witchcrafts. I've had people come and try to work witchcraft on me. I mean, I've seen there was times when I tried to dabble in it because, that was our family thing. That was our family thing until I learned better. When I learned better, that's when I stopped with the superstitions. I stopped with the witchcraft. I want to tell y'all how fast I dropped out of that. Up until 2013, I was believing in superstitions. Superstitions. Yep. 2013 was my turning moment. That was the moment when God knocked me off my horse and I saw the light. I was another Paul. I was running around here just putting Christians down and, just talking junk about people. And if anybody come around me with the Bible, just running them off and things. Because a lot of them, I knew their spirit. I knew, one thing I did know is that you couldn't be lukewarm. I knew you can't work witchcraft and walk around toting the Bible too. Well, you can, but it defeats your purpose. Who are you? You're confused. God don't do confusion like that. But I got knocked off my horse in 2013, November. I never forget it. I was getting ready for Praise for a Cure. Got sick as I don't know what. During this time, I'm still believing in put the X across your windows. If a cat runs in front of you, I'm believing in the horseshoe things. I found the horseshoe in my house. I had my ex to take that horseshoe down. I said, take that thing down. Used to have it inside the house, hanging over the door and stuff. And as I started reading scripture and getting closer to God, I told him, take that thing down. I don't want that up in my house. And the whole time not realizing this is a mark. This is territory. Those horseshoes represent a lot of things. But when you're dealing with it in demon activity and witchcraft, it means a lot of things too. So I took the horseshoe down, and it was just a lot of things that it was so, let me tell you, it was so bad. I had people telling me, now these were family members. I got to get some air. These were family members. They were saying, you got an enemy, girl. We got to get rid of that enemy. And I'm in agreement with them. I'm like, yeah, we got to get rid of that enemy. Girl, they trying to get your man. No, they won't try. He gave himself to them. They was not trying. He gave himself away to them. So it was all kind of things. They would sit around and tell me stories about how they got their man and how, this is what you do. You take Red Devil Lye. You don't want them coming to your house? Go buy you some Red Devil Lye. Don't do this. I don't know who's listening, but don't do this. You do not want to do this. The backfire on it will hurt you worse than just accepting what it is, okay? So don't do this. I'm telling you my story out of testimony. In reference to what Kelly's going through, too. But now I done shifted into this. I was told, my dad said, you got to get some Red Devil Lye. You don't want them coming back here. And so some of his family was like, tell me what to do and things. I'm like, okay. Because my dad heavily believed in the witchcraft. And my mom did too. My mom, she still do. My dad died. But said, you got to get the witchcraft and spread it all around your house. And this is going to stop the tracks of them trying to come in your house with evil. You hear me? Red Devil Lye. It's going to stop the tracks of anybody who's evil from coming into your house. Okay, so at this time, I'm around about 19, 20 years old. You tell me this, okay, I believe. And went out, I did just what they told me to do because it just seemed like the pressure was so hard. I was finding things hidden in my house, like spoons that I knew weren't mine. And it's sort of similar to the things that's going on now. It was clothing in my house that wasn't mine and things. And so I did it. I sprinkled the stuff out, went and brought it just as good. The Red Devil Lye. Went all the way around my trailer with it. And it was a certain family that I did not like coming to my house at all. And so I called out their names just like they told me to do. I called out their names. I put up writings of them, and now keep in mind, this is to stop them from coming to your house, in your yard, any of that. So this is the crazy thing on it. I think I did this was in the year of, I want to say it was around 96 when I first got this home. It was around the end. It was beginning to come up fall, so it had to be around August, September. And I did this. Wait a minute, no it wasn't. I moved here in March of 96. By April of 96 was when they told me to do that, because when I put my home here, all of a sudden a lot of people started coming around and they wanting to sit outside and drink. They knocking on my door. Do you got a cup of sugar? Do you got, they just steady asking for things. And I remember sitting and telling my dad, I said, I'm tired of them people coming, at my house. I don't know what they coming for. And so every time they come, I cuss them out. See, I used to be a cusser. And I cuss them out every time they come. Get them out of my yard. And that didn't stop them from coming. But I put this red devil lie out. Long story short, they stopped coming. And in my little ridiculous mind, I'm like, yes, it worked. It worked. So now I'm going to go start trying to do more of the witch thing, okay? I'm going to go try to do more of it. For a while, they didn't come back in my yard. But then came, I would say, around 1997. Them jokers showed back up and was asking the same thing. Jamie, you got a drink? Can I get a drink from you? And things like that. Can I get some water? Can I get some sugar, some butter? They came right back up. And I said that doggone red devil lie didn't work. That was supposed to be for a lifetime. And I remember going to my biological mom and dad. I said, I thought y'all said they weren't going to come back no more. And they were like, they weren't supposed to come back no more. You must have did it wrong. Okay, well, y'all do it this time. Okay, so this time, let them do it. Do you know? This time, they were gone for a while, but they came back quicker this time. At least when I did, they were gone for about a year, but now they didn't come back quicker. So I was just like, this stuff is not working, and it didn't work. And at one point, they were like, well, what they using is stronger than what we using. We got to go figure this thing out. So we started going to see this sorcerer up in Ashburn, North Carolina. And she was one of them psychics, one of the mediums. She was a medium. And my dad, my biological dad and mom, they were going first, okay? But somebody in his family turned him on to it. So he got he was giving this woman all his money, just asking, am I going to get some money? Is my wife cheating on me? Am I going to get home? Just asking, they prey off of your basic needs, okay? And the woman was telling him all kind of stuff and telling him that he's healthy and all that, and gave him this egg. Told him to bring that egg home and sleep under it. Put it under your pillow. Put it under your pillow. Sleep with it for 3 days like that. Then come back. Bring me about $400. I'm going to tell you everything you want to know. Because she started off charging you $20 each visit. But the more you come back and start wanting to know more, the higher up she going. Because it's like you want to sit and hear more. And it's very charming. It's very alluring. When I tell you, you can get so hooked on it to wanting to know the future. You can get so hooked on wanting to know the future that you're missing your present moment in life. And you're not realizing that you're talking to a person that don't have a heaven or hell to put you in. Let alone can they really predict the future. Now, God has given us prophets out here, and some of those prophets have turned into psychics and mediums. So, in my dad's case, biological dad, because I'm adopted, he turned me on to it, and I believed him. I said, okay. He said, if you want to find out if your old man cheating on you, at this time I'm not with my ex that passed away. I'm with a Hispanic guy. And he's like, if you want to find out if he cheating on you and who he cheating on you with, you need to go up there and see him. And I was like, okay. And so, see her. And I did. He said, I'm going to take you the first few times. Then she's going to have you start coming back by yourself. So I did go about 3 times. And just like he said, she gave me the egg. She gave me the egg thing, said bring it home, sleep on it 3 days, and then bring it back to me, and I'll crack it. According to him, when she cracked his egg, a lot of stuff started coming out of it, like worms and things like that. I don't know. But when I went back to her, this is my 3rd time going to her, so I took like $40. First time I took $20 each time, and then it went up to $40 to get this reading. And she was like, oh, girl, your boyfriend is cheating on you. He's taking all your money. He's gonna leave you. Is he Hispanic? That's how she was. It's a Hispanic man, isn't it? And his name starts with an R, right? And I was like, yeah, how you know that? And then it hit me. Duh, my parents are sitting up here telling you the information you want to know. Then you're coming back giving it to me as if you done heard something, or you can tell. But okay, anyway, I take the egg back. And she says, I got to go back here to bust it. I said, no, can't you do it in front of me? Because I've always been, I guess I just not been trusting since I was a kid. And I was like, no, I need to see you do this in front of me. And so in her pocket, she's got a dress with 2 pockets on. I can see the egg print in her dress pocket because she's got on this big dress. She's pregnant too, by the way. I can see the egg print in the big pockets, the round oval egg print. And she takes my egg and she says, I'm going to stick it in my pocket and then I'm going to pull it back out. And I see her hand. I'm looking at her the whole time. I see her hand when she tries to switch, and she even says, honey. She talking to her husband, telling her to bring her some water, hoping that's going to distract me or, take my focus where I stop looking at her. And it didn't. So I look and I said, you just switched that egg. She said, no, I didn't. This is your egg right here. And this is the things in it. And it was just like my dad had said, a bunch of worms and stuff. I was like, no, you switched the egg. That's my egg right there. I said, let me feel my hand in your pocket then if you don't have another egg in there. And she got so mad at me. She said, if you don't leave from here, I'm going to call the police. I said, well, give me my money. You can call the police, but give me my money back. My dumb self then gave her my $40. But you know what? I got my $40 back and some. And I left. I said, woman, you need to shut down. Back then, we didn't have social media, so I couldn't call her out online. We didn't have it. But I watched my biological parents just spend thousands and thousands of dollars trying to get the future. Trying to understand the future. Trying to have knowledge of the future beforehand. Not from God, but from these witches and warlocks. It's been men and women in their lives, just doing that to them. And in that moment, I knew then, I said, this is not real. None of this is real. The Miss Cleo is a lie and all that. Because they call Miss Cleo, all that stuff. That's why I can sit back now and see what people's doing. And I'm like, if they only know Jesus is the real deal. He's not witchcraft. He's the real deal. If you want to know what's going on in your life, if you that concerned about your future, then you better stick close to him, because he will stick closer to you than a sister or a brother. But if you're not sticking close to him, you're not sticking back, you in trouble, because he's the only way, the truth and the light. And you got to stay in the truth. And that's what Kelly's doing. Kelly's staying in her truth. Kelly's done seen some things out here. She know what she's talking about. It just don't make sense to you, but it makes a lot of sense to her. And I notice they always say that about people who have, they be quick to label you as schizophrenic. But there are some real people out here that are schizophrenic. There are some real people out here who are really mentally ill to the point where, they do have these delusions and things. But it's hard to tell them from the people who are being induced into mental illness. And that's a difference. It's like being with a narcissist 24/7 who says, you're not going to rest ever again. As long as I'm in your life, I'm here. I'm assigned by the devil to make you sweat, to torture you mentally, physically, and financially. And that's what she's experiencing, these assignments by the devil. And the devil not going to use no strangers. I've seen, I could say I've probably seen hundreds of people who have tried to intimidate me and manipulate me by doing certain things that the GS do, the community mobbers do. And it didn't bother me. It didn't bother me till I saw family doing it. Now that's when it bothered me. And then I had to learn, God, how do I get over them so that I can be me still? So it's a lot that people don't see. And it's the don't see. If they knew how they were really killing a person down, and they knew that they had to live with that, because many of you are not going to sleep at night. Many of you are going to be up all night long trying to keep up with what I'm doing, what Kelly's doing, what other people like me and her are doing. And you're running away from your own life trying to micromanage ours. Now, who's the crazy one? God give you one life and you want to spend it trying to spoil mine or bring mine down or bring hers down or anybody that's being done like that? You're the one missing out. We still living our life. It may be a controlled life, and they may make certain things happen. Like today I went out for dinner and I called myself, I really wanted this Dave single. Really wanted it bad. And here I am. Got the Dave single, and I get it here, and it's so cold, I cannot eat it. It's so cold, it's absolutely a mess. And somebody loaded it down with ketchup. It was so much ketchup. I got a video of it because I didn't know it was going to be loaded with ketchup. I just, I do content creating, so I just was naturally doing the video, and then I'm like, what in the world? Looks like somebody poured half a thing of ketchup on this burger. So I took it back. I ended up taking it back. And the next burger was just as cold. The only difference was they added an extra slice of cheese. As if I needed an extra slice. But anyway, I only ate half of it. But that goes to show you that they could have controlled my moment right then and there. By fixing me a bad burger, it could have made me so upset, so angry, that I came home and took it out on everything in my house. Or took it out on people who were going to come around me. So it's ways that people induce you into being angry and responding. And I think what Kelly did was responded to some people who were doing evil things to her and trying to make her look like the crazy one. Because I'll never forget that first time that I looked at like the crazy one. And just this one guy I know said, she's one of us. We got to help her. And then the whole community turned against me. What I mean turned against me is they started taking in on the plots and attacks that I was going through. They started normalizing it. That'll never be normal for me to sit and let somebody do me like that. But I've learned to also not respond to everything. And I still have my moments of when I'm still responding. But we just have to stay prayed up, those of us who know, about the Yona, who know what's really going on. Because witches and warlocks do exist. They friendly till you got something they want, or you don't do what they say. You'll never know it's a witch or a warlock. You'll never know the majority of people walking around on this earth and attending churches are witches and warlocks. Anybody that tries to control, and this is why God gave us free will. Anybody that tries to control your will in life. You hear me? Anybody. Your mama, your daddy, sisters, brothers, cousins, strangers, neighbors. Anybody that, your children, anybody that tries to take that free will away from you, you're in a cult. You're with witches and warlocks. They try to control what they are not supposed to be controlling. They won't control themselves from their behavior, but they want to control you and your behaviors, your finances, your relationship, your love life. They want to take over that. Now, I don't know what's going to go on with Kelly, and I just say, every time I see somebody like this that comes out, and, the most famous words is something happens to me, just know I'm happy with life. I would never hurt myself. Those are famous words for a lot of people, including myself, that I have said before when I first started experiencing what I was going through. Just know that God still has his hands on you, and no weapon formed against you shall prosper. They're going to come, but they're not going to prosper. You got to maintain the faith through the good and the bad. You're going to have your ups and downs. You're going to have the moments where you want to just call out everything that everybody is doing to you, and it may even come out. But for the most part, that Proverbs 9:7 set me right. Don't argue with a fool, and don't try to correct somebody who's not trying to listen. You can't correct people how they treat you. Some people you can, but people who are hell-bent on seeing you destroyed, you cannot. Those people with a reprobated mind, you cannot. Those people with narcissistic personality disorder, forget it. Don't try to correct them. Just try to stay away from them as much as you can. And if you got to be around them, you got to be responsible for you and your reactions, because they're going to try to get a reaction out of you. And it's not the big things they do that grab the reaction. It's the small things that have added up that cause the big reactions. And everybody's like, what happened now? Nobody understands how much you really have suffered of little incidents here and there, and didn't say nothing. And then finally get to the point where it just blows up. You're overloaded with it. We got to get somewhere, ladies and gentlemen that are going through this. We got to get somewhere and write this stuff out. We got to get it out of our heads, out of our heart, out of our minds, and we got to put the godly stuff back in there, because God gonna win. He gonna win. It don't matter who up against you. He gonna win. He gonna win. And don't be like my parents was. My parents, my dad died believing in witchcraft. I was going through his wallet, and I saw where he had some witchcraft materials in his wallet. And I said, you know what? This stuff can't stay here in my house. Mind you, his wallet been in my house since he passed away. But after then, this year, the Lord had me go and just get rid of a lot of things. Well, was it this year? No, July. It started in July. Y'all know I've been on this thing of getting rid of things out of my house. Well, the Lord had me go through here, and as I'm throwing this stuff away, I run across that wallet. And when I seen that, he said, no, that's not, I don't care if it is your dad's. Get rid of it. I had to get rid of that he had in his wallet. I took a picture of it, and it was a cross with Jesus up on it. But what was supposed to be named Jesus was the devil. So witchcraft has always been out here, Demons have always been here. These little games that people are playing with your mind have always been here. And there's only one solution: God. Stick with God no matter what. Stick with him, hang with him. Go to scripture, go to prayer, fasting. I haven't fasted in a while. I feel like I need to fast, because some things only come out through fasting. But I can tell you, there is none greater than God. So don't let those incidents that cause you to react make you feel bad or guilty for your reaction. All right, y'all, I'm finna get off. I've been out here a while, and I'm gonna try to hop back in the house with my bag. It's been giving me trouble. And it done got dark out here, too. It's 9 o'clock at night. Actually, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Well, peace, love, and happiness. Don't let everybody in your house. Don't let everybody in your ear. And just try to be mindful of your reactions. That's all I can leave you with.